who here has been to more than like one wedding? Has anybody seen like some differences during like the ceremony or during the actual like banquet? No? Anybody? Okay. Wow. If you've ever been to a Chinese wedding, you can see a lot of differences from an American wedding. With this presentation, I hope you understand tradition a little bit more. And if you ever like attend another wedding, you'll think of it as more than just spending money, like to please guests or something. Especially in a Chinese wedding, it costs a lot. I will first talk about how the couple is betrothed. Second, their attire is very different from American weddings, and their food. So, has anybody heard the saying, pointing to the bosom as a marriage promise? It's a saying in China that they can be engaged as early as being in the womb. They're not even born yet, and they're already promised to somebody. According to an article on a China Guide, there was matchmakers as late as 446 BC, and these matchmakers would help the parents find somebody for their child. They were found based on similarities for the family, and once the matchmaker would think that these families could come together, the families had to meet them and see if they would want them like to be joined. There's another saying in China that says bamboo gate to bamboo gate, wood gate to wood gate, and this is a meaning that's saying like you can't they couldn't match somebody that's like wealthy to somebody that's poor. They would stick to the same social classes for their weddings. Now there isn't much like looking out for that type of thing, social classes and where you're from, like there isn't they aren't pointed out. But there are some of the traditions that were kept from after being betrothed, from like being young. After they met the family, they would do sort of traditions, and one of these was the Changmen, and this is basically where before the wedding, the husband to be, I guess, goes to the bride to be's house, and they knock on the door, and the bridesmaids and the family decide when to open it, and it's sort of a negotiation where they're knocking and offering gifts, and they offer money, and if the bridesmaids and the family don't think that it's enough for the bride, they won't let him in until he offers a sufficient amount of money. And now that I've talked a little bit about this, about how they come to be engaged, and a little bit of this small tradition, I will secondly discuss their clothing for the bride and groom. Buying a dress for a wedding is very expensive. As you can imagine, the bridesmaids, the small alterations, the groom, it's simple, a tux. But in China, there are 3 dresses, and the bride has to wear a keep pao, which is a long gown, and it's typically red. It has to be red. It's either a 1-piece or a 2, and then they have a white Western wedding dress and a ball gown. According to an article about the Chinese culture, Laura Mack states that the bride typically changes after 3 courses. In the ancient times, this is what it looked like. It was either 1-piece or 2-piece, and it was just very loose and simple. But now we can see how it changes. They can be short, and like they're fitted more, they're more fancy. they fit like her body more. And back to this one. This is how a man would dress. It's called a Mao suit or a song shan. But now the bride sometimes does stick to this. They have their 3 gowns, and the husband would just wear a business suit. Now that I've described their clothes, I will lastly talk about their food for the banquet. When at parties, celebrations, birthdays, weddings, I've never been to a wedding. I don't know how they serve their food and stuff. But it's typically like the super salad, the main dish, and dessert, I'm guessing. And for China, they have 8 courses. That's not including the dessert. According to an article on CHCP by LKE on June 11th, traditional weddings carry 8 dishes, and these dishes are usually symbolic to the bride and groom. Right here, we have shark fin soup. Oh, right here, shark fin soup. This is squab right here, and these are just noodles. The shark fin soup for the bride and groom is to wish them wealth in their future because it's a delicacy in China and it's very expensive, so it symbolizes wealth. The squab is usually served 2 of them, one to the bride and one to the groom, and it symbolizes peace, so it's an offering of peace for the newlywed. And this is just noodles, and noodles are a symbol of longevity to the bride and groom. And while eating the noodles, if you like cut it while you're eating, it's like bad luck. So yeah, now that I've described a bit of their culture and tradition for their clothes, their how they become to be engaged, and their food, I hope you have a better understanding, and hopefully if you attend another wedding, you can spot out some differences amongst those weddings.